Hello and good morning. Sorry for the up close view. I cannot find my headphones, and I'm on my old laptop, which is actually more of a belly top at the moment. Yeah, 921. Um, this one I think is gonna be one thing leads to another, I think, or maybe the interrelated state of affairs. I guess I need to preface this a little bit by saying that I have been on a waiting list to see a therapist for 2 months now. Um, I tried, I lost my therapist at the grocery store. I lost my therapist uh, when I started my new job because I had training for 12 weeks and I couldn't get in to see them because I couldn't miss training. It was one of those things. Sure, I stopped seeing her, and it's one of those things. They got to make money, so or pay the bills, I should say. I shouldn't say make money. They got to pay the bills. So they kind of they dropped me, put me on a waiting list. Well, we'll pick up in so many, whatever. 12 weeks is 3 months. That's a lot of rent. Um, so uh, I've been trying to get back to see them, and uh, last month I started just saying I'll see anybody, you know, and so it's one of those things. I guess I want to preface things by saying that I really am trying my darndest to get in and talk to someone who's a licensed professional. Okay. Um, so, and I'm hoping I checked about every 2 weeks. I call and say, I ask, if it's not too much trouble, where am I in the queue? And I've been slowly moving up the list. Um, I don't know if that's a commentary on our lack of in the United States at the moment, our lack of medical, uh, the number of counselors or what. It's not a matter of there not being enough buildings. There's definitely places, since the pandemic, it's all been over the internet. So really, it just comes down to people and time. Uh, it's not a matter of insurance. It's not a matter of money. Not to say I'm sitting on a wad of cash. I'm not. But just again, there's just not enough people. So if you're looking to make some money and you don't know what you want to do, maybe that's the direction to go to. I don't know. Um, but why do I say one thing seems to be connected to the other? It's just it seems like for the last, I don't know, 2 to 3 months, I just have felt like I can't really accomplish anything. I can't really do anything. My job, I work from 9 to 5:30, and it used to be I would go to work and come home, and I would have all this time, and now it's like I sleep, I wake up, I do work, and then it's nighttime, and by the time I cook dinner and take care of my daughter, it's time to go to bed. There's just no um, there's just no way of getting things done that I want to get done. Hang on, my daughter wants to come sit next to me. I need to My cat daughter. I need to move stuff so she can come sit. Um, so I thought I would be clever. Um, I'm always interested in what can I do to help myself. Um, so I this week I created a little chart, uh, which I'm going to revise as I go forward as the first stab at it, of just things that I need to do, like my chores and doing the dishes and house chore stuff, but also some other things like reading for fun. I haven't read for fun just picking up a paperback book and reading it. I haven't done that in ages. But just little things that I've let go by the wayside. Did I take my meds? And I hate to sound so, is pathetic sad a word? Pathetic and sad. But it's like I feel like I'm losing my brain. I feel like I'm losing my mental capacity to get stuff done. I mean, all of my energy goes into my job. You know what I mean? Because the job pays the bills. Uh, and I do my job. I do my job pretty well for what I do. I think we get Q&A, quality assurance evaluations periodically. It's like they'll sample one or two of our calls a week and give us a critique. Out of 100, how many points did you get? What did you miss? Did you say anything wrong? Did you not follow the rules? And so my evaluations are above, the minimum. So I'm doing my job, you know, and you can hope that over time, pardon the wet rat look, over time, that should get easier. Usually that's what happens with a job. It's something new and you get quicker, you get faster, and I haven't had that yet. So I need to give myself some room with that. The other thing is the time change. I started my job in October, and we went to whatever daylight savings time, whatever it is, one way or the other. We lost the time, and so it's been night, perpetual night, for a while, and it's end of March. We're at the other time change that just happened, and so I feel like if I could just hold out a little longer, I'm gonna get my sunlight back, and I really am solar powered. When the sun's up, I'm awake. I can do stuff. When the sun's down, my body's just like, oh, it's time to sleep. And so I feel like if I could just make it another couple more weeks, maybe um, I'll have the energy to do stuff. But back to the cognition thing. Um, stuff like taking your meds, which affects everything else. If you're depressed, if you're on medication for depression and anxiety and everything else, blood pressure is another. That's been a huge thing. So I have, like I said, on my little check sheet here that I can follow, because I can't rely on my brain anymore. My brain's not functioning, but I can make a check sheet and maybe again with medication for your head, you reach a threshold and then you start to function better. It has to get in your bloodstream. But my blood pressure has been insane. One 170 over 100. And that's with blood pressure medication. So it's like my this vessel that I inhabit, this body is struggling, and so that's gonna help. If I can just wait a little, if I can hold out another, the time change, it's gonna give me more time. My chart, if I can show that I've been taking my drugs, my medication, excuse me, my prescription medication, uh, I just have to have 3 months of that, and then I can say to the uh, medication doctor, "Hey, I've been taking whatever I've been taking, Zoloft." I don't think I'm on Zoloft, but it's just what came to my mind. Zoloft for 90 days, and it doesn't seem to be helping. Oh, well, let's adjust your medication. Okay, so that's just going to take time. Um, but a lot of my issues outside of my head is my body at the moment. We talked about, blood pressure, um, stress, but blood pressure, you know, I haven't been eating the greatest in the world because I haven't felt like cooking. You know what I mean? And so that's where I say one thing is related to something else. One thing is, you know, uh, mentally, I've not been here. If you've been cognizant over the last couple of months, the attack on transgender people, it's gotten to the point it wears you down. For me, it's gotten to the point that it has worn me down. I mean, literally has worn me down every time I look at the news. Um, every time I look at, and maybe the answer is just not to look at Yahoo News anymore, because it's an algorithm. Um, but even it being an algorithm, you know, the fact that Ohio is passing an anti-trans legislation, uh, like the fact that the news is generated for me and that Ohio is passing anti-trans legislation and Indiana, where I live, is passing, and Kentucky, uh, it doesn't matter knowing, not necessarily knowing or not knowing it, but knowing nationally that you are being attacked and people want to kill you. And it's not paranoia, to know that people want to pass this legislation because they want to kill you. And they're not hiding it. We saw at the CPAC, the one representative saying they wanted to eradicate transgender. They wanted to kill, do away with, and people go, "Yay, that's what we want." And you're sitting here going, "Okay, well maybe that's just an extremist. I mean that's the far right." But no one is on the not as far right is saying, guys, gals, guys, it's Republicans. Guys, really, this is the wrong direction for the Republican Party. We're the party of Lincoln. We're the party of Roosevelt. Uh, Maybe they weren't. Think about it, but we're the party of Lincoln. That we care about living and life and individual freedom, and this is the wrong direction. No, they're not. You if there's balance, for every Marjorie Taylor Greene who's up there talking about transgenders and groomers, there needs to be balance to say, you're welcome to your opinion, but the Republican Party is about individual freedom and less government. Um, we just don't have it. The whole outside world is so wonky, and so obviously the brain is going to be agitated. Uh, the your mental psyche is going to be, stressed out, aware, and so again when you're not taking your meds, but I am taking my meds. I just can't prove it. Um, but if I'm taking my meds, why is my blood pressure so damn high? Well, is it so damn high because of all the crap that's going on around me? Could be, you know. So that'll resolve itself in time. Not everything else, but you know, I guess the tools we have. That's the whole idea of therapy. Um, is to help you, give you the tools you need to process. So like I said, I'm trying to get into therapy. I'm not really. Again, I'm on a waiting list. I am taking my meds for the. You know what I mean? I'm trying to help myself get organized. Um, my body. Uh, I don't know what's going on with my body. I really don't. Um, but it seems like, I'm having trouble just on a lot of fronts right now. And stuff that you would have when you're, I hate to say 50, 51 years old. Things don't quite work as well as they used to. Uh, But like, not to get too gross, but the act of wiping myself after I go to the bathroom, it's hard for me to wipe. Um, my body has gotten so big, I can't reach, you know, and it makes me sad. It makes me cry because it's like I'm falling apart, you know. I'm not laughing, I'm crying. It's like I'm falling apart little by little. And you know, I I spend a couple minutes cleaning myself and I still shit my pants. Uh, I've lost the ability to control my bladder. So I pee myself. So I wear, I change my underwear when I need to. I wear pads. It's like you have things to help you bridge the gap, but you just ask yourself, how did I get here? You know, um, one thing is connected to the next thing. I went grocery shopping yesterday, and it winded me to walk around the store. I mean, that's how out of shape I am. That's how I don't have stamina. I mean, and again, you say, well, you're gonna get that. Anything you can do, even just walking around the house, because of the amount of weight and that we have, you're gonna burn calories. And that's the other thing that I'm trying to improve upon. Back to my little list here. Um, Drinking water, the food that I eat it. I'm at the point now. Eat one fresh fruit. Eat one daily. One vegetable daily. I don't eat that. You know, I'm just not hungry for it. I don't want to eat. You know, my I'm supposed to eat at least 1,600 calories for my size. Really, to lose a little bit of weight, it should be 2,300 calories based on my BMI, my body mass, and whatnot. I barely crack 1,000 as far as calories go, so I'm not eating enough. My body thinks it's starving, so I need to eat more. So I've got that on my chart. I'm with Fitbit. Woo, with Fitbit. I'm monitoring how much food I'm eating and what type of food that I'm eating. So I'm eating, proteins, and I'm keeping track of my carbs and that. And as far as my blood pressure goes, I'm also keeping track of my sodium intake. So I have a feeling I just got to give it time. I just got to give it time. Uh, but it's hard uh, to for your physical vessel not to perform the way it should, and it fails, and mentally the same thing happening and it fails. It's like it wears upon the psyche, it wears upon the body, and I think that's where I'm like, everything's connected. um my outlet is free. My free time outlet is fun stuff that I want to do. And I look around my duplex where we live here, and um I have a pile of stuff on every flat surface. Not garbage. Some of it is garbage, but different hobbies and things that I used to enjoy doing that it's like a pile, it's like a museum of unfinished projects. Um, Whether it's a plane I was working on or my monitor project I'm doing for D&D or uh, my Warhammer 40K stuff. I mean, I'm looking around on every flat surface. I've got in the other room. I've got my DJ stuff. It's like I've started a lot of things that I've not finished it. But not necessarily for lack of effort, but just for lack of time. I just don't feel like I have the time. Um, I'm not really getting help. Um, Not really getting help with my daughter at the moment. Um, she when she thinks about it, she'll clean up after herself. But there's dishes and plates and I mean, it's like, you know, it just will take time, and I'm trying to not push, not be overbearing. My dad was so overbearing. I was so afraid of my dad growing up with good reason. And I didn't want to be an authoritarian, with my daughter. I've really encouraged her to critically think and to she can be a snot sometimes, but um she's gonna have so much more skills than I do going out into the world in a couple of years. But anyway, uh so I'm trying to get her. We've got another chart on the fridge for both of us. It's the same 12 or so house chores divided amongst the week, and I am like 3 or 4 days off of hers. So, for example, the bathroom gets cleaned twice a week. She does it on Wednesday. I do it on Saturday. It's the same thing, just rotated 3 or 4 days. And so it should, in theory, every chore gets done twice a week, whether it be dusting or the bathrooms or taking out the garbage. Um, it's if it's followed, we shouldn't have this chaos. And we shouldn't have cups in the living room from 2 weeks ago. But that system is not being followed, and so I'm trying to I'm trying to get my own house in order, this body in order, and I'm trying to encourage her to get her body, her life in order, and our life in order. And it just takes time. It just it sounds like an excuse, but I've never had a period before. I've never menstruated. I don't know what it's like. I've seen what it's done to my daughter and my ex-wife. Okay. Um, but when and again, I don't want to get into it's her information in her life, but when you have from what I've seen, if you have bad periods, oh my gosh, it messes your life up for that week. You have cramps, and you don't feel good and every I mean, like I said, I'm highly aware of my daughter's cycle, and uh, a word to the wise of when you get married or if you live with a cis gal, get to know their menstruation schedule. Get you a calendar and write it down. Keep it to yourself. That way you know. I mean, it's sorry, shaky the world there, but um, where was I going with this? Oh, so my ex-wife said we talked about it. Well, it's time for Katie to go see the gynecologist, and my daughter. Time for her to go. So I made an appointment, uh, and that'll happen again in the next couple weeks if I just hold out a little bit longer. and she will get on probably a birth control type pill that will help to alleviate the, right now there's highs and lows, and that medication will help deal with the highs and the lows, so that my daughter can function a little more, and that might help out with the chores and the dishes, and it might help out mentally with her, and sometimes she can be a challenge, you know, as we all can be on our good days and our bad days. But when you have that additional stress in your life, it's easy to let things slide, you know. So like I said, that's that, but as far as getting stuff done, I just don't seem to have the time, and I want to, I want to go practice my DJing. I want to go mess with the monitor in the kitchen. You should see my kitchen table. I've got my D&D monitor, the game mat monitor on the kitchen table with the box that came in over it to protect it from the cats, and then I've got the side monitor. I've got everything. I can just walk over there and plug in my laptop and tinker with it, and now I've got to do the game stuff. Now that I've got the tools on how to present my game, now I need to come up with the content. That's the fun part, right? The storytelling. And again, it's a matter of having the time to do it and being in the right frame of mind to do it. So I guess the whole thing, the circular, everything affects everything else. It seems like everything is connected to everything else. And uh, my hope is that the more I chip away, you know, if I can get my blood pressure down or regulate it, if I can, and lose some of this excess body fat, if I can change the free time that I do have to start to walk. I used to walk a lot. I used to when I was candidate for surgery for GCS, I walked 24,000 steps a day. I hated it, but I did it. Uh, now I can't do over 1,000 without being winded, so ooh, sorry, I keep thinking I don't want to put this coffee on my book. Um, with my Fitbit, uh, what I've decided to do is start off with 1,000, and if you can do 1,000 for a week, try 2,000. You know what I mean? So increment, increment, increment. Back to my sheet here. Uh, you know, eat at least one fresh fruit a day. If you can do that for a week, well then the next week try two. You know what I mean? It's this is a starting place. This is not the final. And that will just take time as well, you know. Um Everything's related. And while we're talking about everything's related, let's go back to a breast quest update. Um I feel like I'm going in circles on that other one, which is about circles. It's about cycles, right? I got a phone call yesterday from the plastic surgeon's office with a quote, and it's something I can do, which is exciting. Uh, Excuse me. Um, the cost of the whole deal is less than $3,000. It's like 29 and some change. Um, and I thought it was going to be like 8 or 12, you know. So kudos for actually doing it and getting a real number instead of imagining what the number might be. Because I was off. Uh, would have been 4 times as high as what it really would have been, right? Um, So I have until um what was I gonna say? Um, Lord knows. I asked the question. I said, okay, well, she said, no, we require 25% down. And I was like, okay, well, that's something I can do. And she's like, oh, okay. And I said, so what kind of is the next step? And she said, well, um, we're behind on the schedule, so I have no idea how long it's going to take, to actually get things. Sorry, if I could rewind a little bit. Health insurance does not pay for it. Getting back to money. Sorry, I jumped ahead. We were talking about money or the cost of it. Health insurance will not pay for a dime of it. So it has to be out of pocket, which is a bummer. But at least we have a number. At least we have something to work for. Um, I was going to pay off some debt. Uh, I've been slowly paying off debt, and if I cut that back, then I'll have the cash to have the surgery, da 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 da, da, and then we'll pay off the debt over a longer period of time. That's where money's going to come from. I'm not sitting on a wad of cash. Please don't think I am. I'm just a good planner, as you can tell. So anyway, so out of pocket, they're not going to pay. Health insurance doesn't pay for it. It's not as much as I thought it was going to be. She said that they're behind in their scheduling, and so my primary doctor, who gave me the referral to her, kind of jokingly said, "Well, it's going to take you at least a year to get on our schedule." And so again, I have a year to find $3,000, and they don't need the 25% until 2 or 3 weeks before the surgery. So again, kudos for getting in the door and getting the number. And when you have a year anyway that you have to wait, um, you can start to find ways. Maybe I turn off my cell phone, or maybe I turn off cable. Um, for me, shit, we don't have cable TV, but if I did, that would be, $50 a month that I could put towards, having surgery or whatnot. So that's good. The other thing that I found out, um, when I read the notes was they still want a letter from a mental health professional, which I don't have. And as I started at the start of this video, I'm on a waiting list to get in to see a mental health professional. And, if you start to see a new doctor and you say to the new doctor, the new mental health doctor or counselor or whatever, oh, can you write me a letter for surgery? Well, according to the WPATH standards of care, that requires a year. I mean, there's a time you gotta be seeing someone for at least. I remember when I tried to get my letters for surgery, I needed 3 letters from 3 different people, and I had to establish a history with each one of them. So at a minimum, it was a 3 month. You know what I mean? The idea what you see in the news about kids or people walking into a doctor's office and having surgery. It does not happen. It is not reality. That is not the way that it works. There's too many things that have to line up that takes months, if not years. Well, I won't say years. mm, You know, several months, 6 months at a minimum to even set up. I mean, it just doesn't happen, and it's anyway. Uh, so as far as Breast Quest goes, again, now we're back to waiting, and we'll see what happens for me to get on the schedule. And luckily, like I said, I can kind of come up with the money. Uh, but again, you know, I was prepared for the weight of that. Your BMI is too high, or your blood pressure is too high. I mean, I was really surprised when I left that that was not a red flag. You know, what sir? If my dentist, my dentist, I don't know if I told this story or not. Um, I went to my dentist, who I normally love, and to get fillings on teeth. Okay, and they would not give me the painkiller that I needed. They gave me Novocaine, but they wouldn't give me the next thing up for pain, as they were drilling my teeth because my blood pressure was too high. And so it got to the point I couldn't, you mentally, your pain can only handle so much. Um, and so I just said, I can't sit here and let you do this and you not give me any drugs. Numbing Novocaine, okay? Um, and he chastised me because my blood pressure was too high. And he's like, you need to get this fixed. And I'm like, you just need to shut the fuck up and give me painkiller so you can drill my teeth and finish the job. Why the hell would you start drilling my teeth if you're not going to finish it? But that's another story. So yeah, so they stopped because my blood pressure was too high. And I this has been something that I don't remember that 2 years ago. They didn't measure my blood pressure when I went to the dentist 2 years ago. When the fuck did this thing shit start? Anyway, everything's related to everything else. Um, you know what I mean? So I guess, again, um, my hope is, if you keep chipping away at it, my hope is, if I keep chipping away at this, something's got to give at some point. And as much as it is, one thing affects another thing, and it's in a negative way, it's keeping me down. If one thing affects the other thing and I make a positive improvement, then that's got to translate to the next thing that helps that make a, you know what I mean? Like, it could be positive, one thing leads to another, right? Um, it should, if it can go one way and be negative, then it can go the other way and be positive. One thing can lead to, I mean, that's a wonderful piece of bullshit. Keep you going. Um, you know, that's my hope. Um, so things are moving, but things are, at some point, they're kind of static. And uh, one of my complaints at the moment is just not having time. uh you say to yourself, oh, I've got Friday, or I've got Saturday, or you work during the week, so then you have Saturday or Sunday. And like a day like today, I finally am able to take my car in and get it worked on. So I'm going to be sitting at the dealer today. I am going to bring my laptop and my D&D book so I can work on my story. Okay. um while I'm sitting there waiting at the dealership for them to work on my car. But them working on my car takes away a good chunk of my day. I am going to play some D&D tonight, which should be fun, but that, you know what I mean? It does take away from your free time. It's like, well, I did have free time today. I just spent it a different way. But what I find, like with my Sundays, is, that's the day Katie wants to go do something, and she wants to do something with you. And as a parent with a teenager, when your daughter wants to do something with you, you drop whatever you're doing and you do it. Because there are times a teenager despises you and hates your guts, because they're a teenager and you're the parent. Um, so again, you say to yourself, well, I've got Sunday to clean the table. I've got Sunday to do the dishes. I've got Sunday. Well, my Sundays, they don't, I don't have control of them. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's like this, ah, it's frustrating. Um, and I know that, you know, everybody's got problems. Everybody, nobody is living the perfect life. at the moment. Everyone, things could be worse, things could be better, So I feel like I've got a good handle on it. But it, I've had some moments lately, like me crying a little bit ago. That was me crying, by the way. You should see me when I'm not on estrogen. I don't have any emotions whatsoever. I am a robot. Maybe I am a robot. Um, that's one trans at middle age. Here we are. Uh, it's not. Gee, I'm gonna transition, and I'm never gonna have problems ever again. Life. Uh, Unfortunately, at the moment, we have a lot of people who seem to have. We're the enemy to a lot of people at the moment right now, just because it's convenient and they need a distraction. Um, if you're a politician and you don't have a plan to fix something, it's a distraction. Oh, trans kids, you know, it used to be they're coming for your guns. Now it's like, we got to stop these groomers. We got to eradicate the transgender agenda, which for you and me just seems to be we want to live. We want to live. We want the most basic of things in America: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right? Right. All right, I'll shut up. I'm going to get off my ass and clean, I think. I've got a good hour before I have to go to the car dealership. Um, but, again, it's, um, yeah, again, I think we all have our own struggles. Everyone, as Dusty Bottoms said, we all have our El Guapo. For some of us, reading is our El Guapo. For some of us, learning how to do something is an El Guapo. But for us, we have the real El Guapo, and he wants to kill us. So I'm gonna join Ned Niederlander and no, it was Lucky Day. I'm sorry, that was Lucky Day. Steve Martin was Lucky Day. That was Lucky Day who said that. Dusty Bottoms is my favorite character. Yeah. Anyway, the amigo salute right here. Till next time. Good luck to you. Hang in there, friends. I think that seems to be the common thread is write down our issues, come up with a plan so we get out of our heads, work on it, and revisit. Come back. Did it work? What can I do to change things? Etc. Etc. Till next time, I wish you the best of luck in becoming your authentic self. It is worth it, isn't it? I mean, in spite of all of this, a bad day now is better than a good day then. Uh, in my old life, there probably are two things that stand out. One is the birth of my daughter, being with my daughter. She was born, and her holding my finger while she was a newborn. She was just minutes in this world. My daughter grabbed a hold of my finger and just grabbed it. And I just stood there. That was a moment. Um, Being reunited with my grandparents when my dad manipulated things so that I would not see my mother or my grandparents for 9 to 11 years. My grandparents went from being old people to dying people because of my dad. I missed a good chunk of that life, and my own just being a youth and not being in control. But getting back together again with my grandparents, who I loved, my grandfather, I look just like him, and I have my grandmother's stubbornness. You know, there's some good to the past. So I don't want to say, oh, there's nothing good in my past, because it's not true. But a bad day now is better than any day before, Uh, and maybe it's just a matter of perspective to look at how far we've come in our lives, and we're not, despite having a group of politicians that raise money off our promised deaths. uh you know Maybe we can take solace in that we do get to be ourselves. And if what we were saying was not important or a threat to them, they wouldn't be trying to silence us. And merely by just existing and being happy at being our authentic selves, that is an anathema to that idea that we're evil, bad people. You know, hold out for another day. As the Wilson Phillips song goes, hold out for another day. Things will go your way. Things are gonna change, right? All right. I'll shut up. Bye. Good luck.